Good morning. I'm Bill Case. I'm the current president of the German Village Society, and I'm also involved with the Historic Preservation Committee in compiling oral histories of longtime residents here and people who've been involved in the German Village Society. And today we have, we're very blessed to have with us Eleanor Noltemeyer, who has lived in German Village, which was then called the South Side, for her 93. You are a lifetime resident of this area,
yes,
is that correct?
Yes, I'm 93. I was born March 29th, 1919. And I was born on, and I lived on Whittier Street.
And you live now at
100 Reinhardt.
100 Reinhardt, and you were just off camera telling us a little bit about the history of this property.
Yes.
You built a house here.
Yes, 20 years ago.
And this property is right on the Schiller Park.
Yes.
But your family had this property and won properties around it for a long time. Tell us about that.
Well, that was probably maybe in the 1920s, as far as I know.
And I guess it came down through
when my husband's aunt died, things were left. There was 5 of them, and they left each one of them something.
And my understanding is that this very property that you built this lovely home on was actually the scene of one of the first Oktoberfests. Is that correct?
I think it was. Here and also across the street they had a tent. Across the street too.
All right.
At that time. And
we have a picture today which John Clark showed us that may be familiar to you, and maybe we'll be able to get a close-up. This is one of the Oktoberfest tents in about 1967, I understand.
Yes.
Right? And this is on probably this property.
This property, yes.
Now, can you tell us who's pictured in this?
Yes, I can tell you. This is my son. It's my son David. My other daughter Ann. This is my husband, myself, my oldest daughter. She's passed away, Diane, and her 2 children. Mark, he's passed away, and this is Paul.
And your husband's name was?
Ray F.
Oh, I think that'd be very interesting. Okay. We can go on. What do we have?
Sorry, I keep thinking of things. This is actually my dad's grandparents. They came from Germany and built a house on Stimmel Road where my brother still lives. And this is a little bit about them. And my brother would be a good one to be here to talk to also.
Well, we can just take a break. I'll just read this a minute. Maybe I can. This was Stimmel Road, yeah. That's on the southwest side of Columbus.
Yes.
It's on the Greenlawn Cemetery. You know how Stimmel wiggles around?
Right.
Okay, it's on that, before the curves.
They talk about the aged couple have a distinct recollection of the early Lazarus store at Rich and High Street. And there were only the 3 Lazarus boys and 2 clerks in the store in the early days. That's hard to believe, isn't it? And then he was a florist, I guess, right?
Well, they also took stuff to North Market.
Well, they had the big greenhouses, and they had geraniums and everything there. They were all in flowers and vegetables and things like that.
All right. Ready to go again?
Sorry.
No, that's all right. We'll get on that. Now, Eleanor, you married Ray Noltemeyer.
Yes.
What year was that?
1939. It was June 20th.
So you were about 20 at that time.
Yes. We were married at St. Mary's.
What was your maiden name?
Mitchell.
Mitchell. My understanding is your family was of German extraction.
Yes.
So as you were one of the many families, the German extraction that were in the what was then the South End at that time.
Yes.
Now, do you remember, going back to your youth, some of the anti-German sentiment that was going on in this country as a result of World War I?
Well, World War I don't remember a lot, But you see, where I lived, everybody talked German. Everybody was German. Nobody talked English. And at that time, you know, that when the war was, they didn't like the Germans. And that's when I think they started to try to learn to speak English.
So there was a thought that we
Yeah.
better get a little more assimilated so we don't
Yeah,
get this
yeah.
anger directed in our
they-
direction.
Yeah. The First World War, I guess, was real bad because they burned all the German books in Schiller Park.
Did your folks ever talk about those days to you?
No, they didn't say much.
Now, what did your father and mother do for a living?
Well, my dad was a clothing salesman at the Liberty Clothing Company on Main Street. He was 45 years there.
And what did your mother do?
My mother was a milliner. She made hats, you know, and all things like that.
And I think you told me that they set up a business at one point.
My mother? Well, my dad, when he was in the Army, he learned to barber. And then he built a barber shop on Whittier.
I think there still is a barber shop there. Is it the same one?
No, it's a beauty shop. I
Okay.
turned that into a beauty shop.
All right. And when you got married, you married into the Noltemeyer family. Can you tell us a little bit about their background?
Well, let's see.
They grew up on Gate Street,
They,
232 East Gate
yeah,
Street.
Ray did. 232, yeah, Gates.
And Sandy provided us some old newspaper articles about Henry Noltemeyer and his wife, who you see Henry with the flowing beard there, and it says that I guess they lived on the southwest side around Stimmel Road.
They
Is that
they
correct?
lived at the farm at Simmel Road.
And you remember them?
No.
So they died. I don't know what year that he died, but apparently he was a florist. And this is your husband's.
That would be my,
Grandfather.
yes,
Okay. And what did his father do? Do you remember?
What did his father do? I don't,
Wasn't he a roofer? Didn't they come over as a roofer from Germany?
oh, I think they did. They came over, yeah, they came into New York City. I remember they talked about that. He had a trunk and he had $40 in it. And when he came over here, somebody stole it and he didn't have a penny of money.
Tough start.
It was a tough start. And I don't know how they got here to Columbus or how they ever got here. But then they went over there, built a place. I don't know how all that came about because it was too many years before me.
Tell us what your early life was like growing up on the South End.
Ooh,
It's an
Well-
open-ended question, I know, but it was probably a little different than it is now.
well, it is. We went to school, you know, when we came home, you know, everybody came out to play. You know, I mean, nobody, it isn't like today. We roller skated on Reinhardt Avenue. There was no traffic. You could roller skate. We roller skated up here to Soda Park. And we do that. And,
You went to Seabird Street School,
well, I went to Seabird Street School, but
and your grandma lived across the street. Is that a
Yeah.
picture of your grandma?
no, that's
Taken
my
in Schiller
grandmother
Park?
Mitchell. She's in Schiller Park.
This is taken in Schiller Park.
Well, got a picture of that one. That's your grandmother Mitchell,
Uh-huh,
and
in Schiller Park.
that's great. Any idea what year that might have been taken?
Well, it's on the back. My mother wrote on the back.
Well, she was born, May Mitchell was born in 1869, died 1824. It also says she was married in 1886, so that gives you some idea when the photograph might have been taken. Thank you.
I'll look around.
We got pictures hanging up.
A lot of times that when we do these interviews, thoughts come to people of
I
things
know
they've
it.
long forgotten.
I
and
know
it's-
it. You
it's
do.
great.
You forget all that. Oh,
Another thing you told me about growing up is there were different businesses here than were here now. Remember we
Oh,
talked about
yes.
the slaughterhouse.
Oh my gosh, oh gosh. We used to, well, we'd go after school, you know. We'd go, maybe we'd go up to Albrecht's. They had a grocery store on High Street. I ran around with the Albrechts. And we would go, and we'd go down Whittier and go there where Giant Eagle is, you know, on that side there. They were the slaughterhouse. And boy, you'd hear the pigs, we'd run. You'd hear them hollering and that, and we'd run past there. Then we'd go right past Schmidt's, and there'd be Bushard in there, and you'd hear, oh, it was a terrible thing.
You said they actually scared you.
It did. It scared all of us, and we'd run. You know, we'd run as fast as we could. And then that was in those days. I don't know why they had slaughterhouses down here, but they did.
And were there any other stores that you'd like to visit as a child that maybe are long forgotten that folks would like to know about? Dietlines. Dietlines was right there at Whittier and Bruck. What was that store?
They had like everything in there, like embroidery thing, you know, and to embroider.
Was it like a 5 and dime?
No, it wasn't a 5 and dime. It was more than that. You could buy anything there. You know, it was just, you had everything. It had just everything.
Dishes and pots.
No, they didn't have dishes or anything. They're just like dry goods. That's what it was called, a dry goods store.
But it was fun to go in there and see what
oh my gosh, yes, it was everything.
How about Tony Alabrando's across the street?
Well, Alabrando's had a market across from on Whittier. It was called Alabrando's Market, and we would get you would go to the store every day. You wouldn't go once a week. You'd go every day. You get you get your groceries and your meat.
Sure.
You never went once a week.
Probably had different types of businesses here. Probably had the milkman.
Oh my gosh, the milkman would come down at 4 o'clock in the morning. You'd hear him clop, 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 clop down the street, you know. And
better than a rooster to wake you up, huh?
You'd wake up and you'd have your bottle out and whatever you wanted, and your milk and your cream and that, and then the ice man. You know, we didn't have a refrigerator. We had just an ice box like that, and you'd have your sign out, and then he would come and he had a big leather thing, and he'd bring his ice in and put it in your ice box.
When you were growing up, was it pretty much all automobiles, or were there still some horses that would come down the street?
There was horses, some horses.
And the rag man and the knife.
Oh
man.
yeah, the rag man always came through the, in the back in the alley.
Tell us about the rag man. What did he do?
I don't know. He just must have collected things. They called him the rag man. And he'd come through the alley. That's the only thing, and he'd holler, rags, and then there was a person came that sharpened knives. During the day, I don't know what he'd holler, but anyway, if you had knives and you wanted to sharpen, you'd go out and he'd sharpen your knives.
Tell him about the Old Tangy Park, Mom. How you used to play Old Tangy Park.
Tell us about
that. Well, Old Tangy Park was way up north on North High Street. And of course you didn't get to go very much, but you did get to go. And it would take about, if you go on the streetcar, it would take about an hour to get there. And then we wouldn't go maybe when school was out. When school was out for the summer, we'd get to go up there maybe once or twice.
Big treat.
Yeah, big treat. And
where did you pick this streetcar up?
Right across the street on Whittier Street. There's a lot of stops for streetcars.
So it wasn't just on High Street. It came.
Oh no! Whittier was one of the. We had the tracks in the middle of the street, and then they had a wire.
The trolley.
The trolley, I guess you call that. And they'd put that up, and it was really something.
When you didn't get to go to Old Tangy Park, tell them what you did in the backyard.
Oh, and we will. This is how we used to do. How we would play. We would. Pretend like we were at Old Tangy Park, and we'd maybe if you had a cellar door, we'd take the wax paper from the bread, and then we'd put that on the cellar door so it would get real slick,
Yes.
And then we charge a penny to go, or not a penny, but a button to go down that cellar door. That would be the slide. And,
That was your own little park?
yeah, and we
And then
swang.
Kids are creative, aren't they?
Oh, we used to do
more
all
so
kinds.
back then.
We used to play the 10-cent store too. We'd have a whole bunch of stuff, we'd have a table set up and we'd sell things and that. Or we'd get, in the 5 and 10-cent store, you could get a sheet music of all the latest songs that were out. We'd get that once a week. And we would sit on somebody's porch and we would sing all those songs. I can even remember some of the songs.
And you'd perform in the old
Oh, and then,
garages?
oh yeah, then the Eagles, well, they have a, what the hell do they have now? The Eagles, well anyway, they had a big barn back there. And we used to put on shows in that barn. And we never charged, just buttons.
So you were a little bit of an entertainer.
Oh my gosh, we did everything. And then close to me there was a big, it's like a garage now, but I mean they had things that you could whirl on and do all kinds of stunts on that. Well, we have shows there too, and we'd have.
These are your friends that would all get together?
Yeah. And at night, back in our alley, there'd be maybe 15, 20 kids. We'd all be playing back there. And at 9 o'clock, when the street light came on, everybody went home. The mother and fathers didn't have to call you.
That was
Just
the
went
signal.
home. Like you went home.
Yeah, I think you told me, tell me about where you went to school, Lynn.
I went to Seabird. Well, I went to High Avenue for kindergarten. It was the first year they started kindergarten, and my mother said I could go. And so we walked up there. I don't think we walked there today.
No.
It's too dangerous.
And then after
Then I went to
Seabird Elementary,
Seabird, then I went to Barrett, and then I went to South.
Okay. And so when did you meet your husband?
I met him at South,
Okay. So you went to high school together.
yeah. Well, he was before me, but
But you knew about
I
it.
knew him.
He dated a younger.
Probably did.
And then tell us about your life together after you got married.
Well, let's see. My husband worked for the state of Ohio for about 11 years. And then he decided that he would have a lawn maintenance business. That's what we did. And we were 42 years before he had his cardiac arrest.
And we've got a picture here which shows you slightly younger. Do you have any idea how old you would have been in that picture?
Maybe 25.
Here's another one.
Let's get a look on that.
This one's got-
That's you and Ray. Huh?
Uh-huh.
Now, give us a feel for being a young married couple back then. What sort of places you would go out to for entertainment, the theaters and
Well,
that
you
sort
go to
of
a
place?
picture show.
And where was the picture show you like to go to?
Well, we would sometimes go downtown, or we would go to was that called the Markham down here?
Mm-hmm.
We'd go to the Markham here on High Street. That was a nice
The funeral
show.
home is now.
Yeah, it's a funeral home there. We'd go there, or we'd maybe go over to Buckeye Lake, but not that often.
Was there a place to get a Sunday or?
Yeah, Forrester's downtown. Yeah, that's where you'd go to get a. Oh boy, they had good things there, all kind of good things.
And your grandparents owned Mitchell's Confectionery at 199 East Whittier Street.
Well, tell
Yeah.
us about that.
Well, my grandfather, he had a confectionery there. I don't know what that. I guess that was 199 because they had a 199 drink that everybody came in.
Soda.
It was well known. Mitchell's Confectionery was well known. And then he left there, and then he built a place down on High Street. Ben had a confectionery too.
And we still have some confectionery stores around here now. We have a Winans and things like that. So that tradition continues, I guess.
Ms. Noltemeyer, I'm sorry, but where is that confectionery? Is it a house now? Is it a private residence?
You mean, yeah, it is.
Chris Dune's house?
It's still there. It's a small house, it sticks out. I see it every time I go
It's a
past.
little thin, narrow house next to Candy's room, it's called, where she does facial stuff.
Oh, okay.
Another thing you told me about was where the Giant Eagle is now.
Well,
It used
that's-
to be totally different.
Oh yeah, that was the recce. That was called the recce.
And what
That
was the recce?
That was the recce there. That was the big, oh, it's big. It was a big grounds where they played football, baseball, everything. The circus came there, the carnivals came there. It was everything.
Do you remember going to the circus
Oh
there?
yeah, the circus. Oh my gosh, carnivals. We were there, watched all the football games.
Too bad we don't have that now. We could put the Oktoberfest on there.
Yeah, I remember when the Big Bear built there.
Now, was your husband in the war then? World
No,
War II? Okay. But you lived through that era
yeah,
also.
yeah.
And were you members of, are you and your family members of any of the Germanic clubs?
Well, we were at the Manicor for a while, but then I didn't keep it up.
But Dad was in that group that started the German village.
Yeah,
Tell
he
me what
was-
happened about that.
Well, he was in that. They always said they were going to everybody meet. Henry Schmidt and Ray were there at that first meeting, and they were these
Form
things.
German village.
The forum
To get the German village
going and that.
going
yeah,
and the society and
yeah,
all that?
yeah, all
So
that. Yeah.
was he involved with Frank Fetch?
Well, he knew Frank Fetch. There was a lot of things going on then, and I had children at home, and I never got to go, but they went.
But Ray was,
They was interested in this.
And
So it's,
it was gonna be $5 to join, or something minimal.
the early, in the society. when they
And
first
probably
started.
was.
Dad and several of the other ones signed up, and somebody took some of the money, and they never got their name on that initial.
oh yeah, that was, that was funny.
So some of the folks that signed up for some reason weren't
Yeah,
considered members, and
Yeah.
that caused a little bit of bad
yeah,
feeling.
yeah, I think so.
Do you have any other memories you can recall of the early days of the German Village Society?
Well, I used to go to all the meetings, and that was always interesting.
Now, you grew up in an area that was a lot of German families, but a lot of them moved out.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch, that's
Right.
all I heard, I'll tell you.
And why did so many of the German families move out?
I don't know why they did, but they did. Everybody moved.
But you stayed, and the
My
Noltemeyer stayed.
see, my grandmother lived on her name was Nately.
And is this her?
picture.
No, yes, that's my grandmother, Nately.
She lived right across from Siebert Street School, and Mom used to go over there, and she had chickens in the backyard, and
Oh, my
everybody
gosh.
had outhouses, right, Mom?
Oh, yes, oh my
all
gosh, and they had,
outhouses, hardly any indoor plumbing.
she lived on Reinhardt there, right across the street from Siebert School, and I'd go over there, they owned the 2 lots, I think, that was 2 or 3 lots together, and she had chickens there and everything, and that's, my grandmother she must have been a strong woman, because she could really kill chickens and turkeys and everything. Oh gosh.
Tell them about when you went to school, about all the home remedies and the smells and all that. That's
Oh
good.
gosh. When you went to school, I'm telling you, I had to wonder if the school didn't stink, because they would take goose grease. If you had a cold, they'd rub you with goose grease, or they'd have a little packet and put all something in it, and you'd have to wear that to school. I remember all that, and all the
There wasn't
kids.
any medicine.
No, nobody ever went to a
remedies.
doctor. It was all home remedies. Everything. Everything was home remedies.
Were Was your grandmother the first generation to come over from Germany, or were there,
No, Grandma, she came from Germany.
Okay.
They came from Germany, and so did my
Dad's mother.
dad's mother. They all came from Germany. In fact, I got the hanging up all the things.
and how about the Noltemeyers? When did they come over?
They all came over too.
1865,
I think.
something like that.
Like-
Hanover, Germany. they
Yeah,
came from.
yeah.
Now tell us, when we were off camera, you told us a little bit how you came to build this house, that you had this lot a long time. and
Yeah,
you
a long
wanted to
time.
build.
I wanted to build, but Ray always said we never had that kind of money. So when he had a cardiac arrest, I had the children here, and they said if I could get a loan, it was okay with them. So I did.
And I'm envious as I look around here. You have a beautiful big living room, and this is built on a double lot, so you
Yes,
have a larger home than is
Now a fr-
customary in German village.
Yeah, a friend of Sandra's, he sketched me about 3 or 4 different things for the
Floor
house
plans.
here. Yeah, and then I took it to Baker Henning, and then we talked, and then to see what we could do here.
Were you aware, as you grew up here and lived here, that the south side was deteriorating a little bit?
It was, yeah, it was. It was really going down, but I don't know how it came back up so much. Well, the German Village Society made it come back up.
You began to see a lot of
Yeah, I see it,
renovations.
yes, oh my. Some of the houses were really going down, but people bought them and they fixed them up.
And did that help your properties too, as far as everybody else fixing theirs?
I suppose it did. I know we always kept everything up.
How is the park different? You've been around this park,
Oh,
Schiller
yeah.
Park, your whole life. How is it different now than when you were growing
Well,
up?
see, now they got the Huntington Gardens. That's really pretty. They didn't have that then. And it was just a lot of, people would come in the park, and just, it's really nice over there now.
And the hill that you
Oh yeah, where we used to sled, down, that hill was so high, but there's hardly anything there now, maybe it's just when you're young, oh, it seems high, but everybody, when it was icy out and that, everybody came there to slide. You knew everybody. Everybody went sledding.
Now, you've been a member of the society and still are, I
Uh-huh.
believe, correct? What involvement have you had with the society?
I don't know. I don't think I have.
Have you been involved in any of the, like the Oktoberfest or any of those of the House and Garden?
Well, I'm with the German Village Garden Club. I always, was in that, but
Mom's a supportive member, like when they put the lights around the park.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Tell us about that. That was a pretty exciting venture.
yeah. Well, first of all, let's see. They didn't put the lights in the park. First, I paid to have all this light that's out here in front of my house, and the one over there. Well, we had to pay to have those put up. I think I paid $3,000 or $4,000 to have those put up. They're wonderful. And then in the park, I think Diane had something to do with that. But
Well, I know the Druins were involved also, I think. But that was a community effort to get
yes,
that done.
yes. And those lights are out tonight. I called twice.
And Mom's had trees planted over there. And
Oh, I've had a tree
financial
painted.
supporter for
Yeah, I've always been a supporter of the Friends of Schiller Park and Friends. I always donate. Garden Club and everything over there.
Well, and a lot of exciting things have happened. We had the president
Oh,
here
yes.
last week.
I'll say, you should have been here. That
I was.
Well, that was really something. I'll tell you. I never knew. One morning I could hear pounding. And I thought, somebody must be really doing something here. Well, here they were putting the stakes in over here, and I didn't know that. But then I looked out and I could see they were pounding all the stakes in to put all that around the park.
Yes, this is September 2012, and we're in the middle of the presidential election. And President Obama was just through here a week or so ago.
Yeah.
And I believe they corridored off
Oh,
Reinhardt.
everything.
You couldn't even go outside.
No, you couldn't, no pedestrians, you could not walk, and there was no parking or anything like that. They really did, and we saw all the Secret Service and everybody. We saw everything.
Well,
Going back to the park a little bit, Mom has been involved with, and I have too, with the planning.
Oh, yeah,
let's
yeah.
talk about that.
Oh, yes.
I want to know what you did.
Oh, yeah, well, I used to go over and help plan all that. They had to have volunteers, and I'd go over there and help plan all that. It was really interesting.
You've been part of that great community spirit that
Yeah,
not
yeah.
every town has.
Yeah, you have that, you watch out. I'm always watching out.
And I just have a couple of questions to get a feel for. What are you proudest of as far as German? What makes you proud to live here in German Village?
I'm just, because it's so well known all over. Everybody, no matter where you go, they know about German Village. And I said, well, how do you know about that? Even in when I go visit some of my people in Pennsylvania and different places, they all know about German Village. So
It's a real neighborhood.
it is.
It's a small town in a big town.
If you're out, I used to do a lot of sweeping and that. People would stop me, where is Schmitz? Where is Schmitz? And different places they want to know where it is, and how do you get there? And it really is wonderful.
When Mom moved in, Katie McClure lived on this
Yeah,
corner.
yeah.
Katie came over.
Oh, yeah, right
and
away.
bought Mom a loaf of homemade bread.
Yeah, she came over.
And before Katie moved in that house, Fern Sharp lived
Yeah,
there.
oh,
You
yes.
familiar with that
Oh, my
name?
gosh.
She was well known. She wore great big
She-
hats. And she was well known. She was on TV.
She was on TV.
And when they had a sale, when Fern died, Dad let him set up all her stuff on this lot. I don't know if we have any pictures of that, but she was known for these humongous hats that she wore. She was
Oh,
a
she had-
wonderful, wonderful person.
That's a great story. Do you remember
Yeah.
are there any other great personalities that come to mind here that have you've known in German Village?
Oh, but she had everything on this lot here. She sold everything here. They sold all of her things here. She had beautiful things.
Well, Fred and Howard, I mean,
we knew them real
involved with
well.
Fred and Howard,
Yeah.
they were German Village, as
Yeah.
far as I'm
Well,
concerned.
we know Fred and Howard, but those who may see this presentation years from now don't. Tell us what you know about Fred and Howard, what they
Well-
meant to the village.
Oh, they were really a lot. Without them, I don't think that everybody knew them, because they had everything at that store that you could go in, and they always knew everybody, and they welcomed everybody. And
They bought properties that were really run
yeah,
down.
they
Along with-
did. They bought a lot of it, and they brought everybody that was in like that bought property and fixed it up, and that's what started it.
Eleanor, thank you so much for this interview today. It's been great sharing all these memories with you, and your recollections have just been really wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.